If you die first, I am definitely gonna eat you. The question is, if I die, what are you gonna do? Bon appetit.
Although I spent my summer vacations in Nuevo Laredo with my grandmother and family, I was born in Dallas. Yes, Laredo is home now, but Dallas will always be my hometown. Some of my fondest memories come from the home I grew up in. The Halloween costumes my mom made for me and my siblings. And let me tell you, they were made with the cheapest materials, but the memories I have from those times are priceless. I remember there was a spooky forest-like area where me and my siblings would go into, where our imaginations would run wild. So many moments I cherished. They live within me as snapshots of my life, a simpler time where innocence prevailed. The memories we build during our youth are fundamental. They shape us, like the stories we hear. Some scary stories from my hometown stayed with me well beyond my youth. I remember this next story being told to me by my stepdad. We were leaving one of my uncle's house, heading home on a road that had a lake nearby. That lake is called White Rock Lake. Located northeast of Dallas, it is rumored that couples have seen a specter of a woman that has rumored to have drowned in the lake in the 1920s. Terrifying lovers in their parked cars is one of the spirit's favorite activities. But she has more in her repertoire. She is also famous for hitching rides with unsuspecting motorists. She climbs in the back seat in her dripping wet white gown and sits silently throughout the trip. But when the driver turns to speak to the girl, she is gone, vanished, leaving nothing but a puddle of water on the seat. And now, our special guest. Hey Ghouliacs, I'm your host, Rob Cortez, and in this episode we have a special guest.
I'm Cindy Ross. I have my own ghost tour business. I've been doing it for over 11 years in the DFW area. It's called Gateway Ghost Tours, and I'm known as the psychic on duty.
All right. Can you tell us about Gateway Ghost Tours?
Sure. I've been doing this ghost tour for about 11 years, just a little over 11 years. It's not something that I woke up and as a kid decided I'm going to do a ghost tour. It's kind of a path. I work as a psychic medium there in Old Town Louisville. Old Town goes back to the late 1800s. Well, I used to work in a cute little metaphysical shop. I did readings, I taught classes, also ran the shop. So coming out late at night, you see those things in your peripheral and there's stuff there is the way I like to call it, stuff. We got stuff, okay? So I got started because I had a girlfriend that did a ghost tour in Fort Worth. In Fort Worth, stockyards, they've got a lot of old. And when you have the old and the history, you have paranormal. Well, she didn't have a good time. It wasn't a good tour. And in my little brain, I'm thinking, well, how do you mess up a ghost tour, especially in Fort Worth, you know? And so I thought, well, I can do that. So I had a lot of clients, I had a lot of students, and decided to do a tour for just the Halloween season. And I didn't tell anybody like the city. It's still the Bible Belt. And, you know, here's this psychic walking around late at night, and here's all these people following her. I didn't think they'd be real kosher with that. Well, we did 3 tours, beautiful. They were packed. Everybody had a good time. And then after I finished, I get a call from the city. And the city says, hey, we hear you're running a ghost tour. And I went, yeah. Are you going to keep doing that? I don't think so. Well, if you decide to keep doing it, we're going to put you on the city calendar. And I went, oh, okay. So the city of Louisville is my biggest promoter. They love me. I promote tourism. I bring people in from all over, and they love it. That's how I got started.
That's amazing. That you got some recognition from the city.
Oh, I know. I was trying to keep it on the down low. You know, I'm not telling everybody, but then they found out. It was so funny.
All right. When did you know that you were a psychic / medium? Can you
Well,
tell the difference between both?
okay. A psychic will pick up on things. When you are a psychic medium, you deal with the dead. You deal with spirits, those who have passed on, and they like to talk to you, and you're just extra sensitive to that. So I didn't know that growing up. You know, I just thought everybody was like me. You hear things and you see things, right? No. And so it progressively got worse, meaning that I would get more and more stuff. And I'm known as what is called a channel. So they come right through me, they talk through me, I pick up on their feelings, and the voice is sometimes different. And when it comes through, it's very prophetic. It's like you're almost zoning out, and then, oh, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. And, oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to say that. And then lo and behold, it happens. So I really thought I was losing my mind. In college, I was having episodes like this. And, you know, that's not normal, okay? And so it was during a very stressful time in my life, and it just got worse. And so I was trying to figure out what's wrong with me. You know, they're going to put me in the loony bin because I can't figure this out. And so I had started taking a psychic development class in Louisville, and I asked the teacher one night, I said, you know, I don't know what's wrong with me. Things come out of my mouth. They're not my words. They're not my thoughts. I don't know what's wrong with me. But then these things happen. I said, do you think I'm a channel? And she was, well, I don't know, Cindy. So we researched it, and it became a beautiful journey. We taught the class how to channel. We brought I guess we had a class of about 30, 45 people. And out of those, the majority of them learned to channel. So that's connecting with your guide, knowing who your guide is and who's talking to you is interesting. But back to the dead people. I didn't like talking to dead people. It's like, go away. You know, you can go talk to this psychic medium over here, but please leave me alone. You know, I do readings, you know, for people. And then here's Aunt Sally just knocking on the door. Hey, tell her this. Tell her she's not taking care of the animals. You know, my poor cat is not eating like she should. And it's like, oh, please, will you go away? I don't want to hear that.
The cat that was there with you?
Connecting with a person I was doing a
Oh,
reading for, and her Aunt Sally was coming through and talking about her cat that she left behind and how it was not treated properly. So, you just kind of have to go on the limb and tell your client, well, okay, your aunt, I believe her name's Sally, is here. Oh, how'd you know that? Because she's telling me that you're not taking good care of her cat. What do you mean? So that's how that goes. So I learned, it took doing the ghost tours in order for me to get comfortable with dead people. You would think I would already be comfortable with that in doing a ghost tour. But this is what happened, Rob. I had done a few months worth of ghost tours. We do them on a regular basis. And then I had one of those dreams, and all these spirits had shown up and they said, hey, we're here for you. You keep bringing in the people and we will keep showing up for you. And it was like, oh, cool. So I've got a good working relationship with the spirits in Old Town Louisville. And I will tell you, we get full apparitions, and our people learn how to maneuver with the psychic and the paranormal, bringing them together in order to see and feel that energy. I like to teach. So I tell them, this is how we're going to learn. This is what this feeling means. This is what this feeling means. So when you go do another tour or investigation, this is what you're going to be picking up on. So I think that's why we have so much fun. Now, don't get me wrong. We have those that misbehave and they get put in their place. So you have to play correctly if you're going to be on my tour. Okay. And I'm talking about spirits.
Can you please tell us a little bit about the ones that have misbehaved?
Oh, yes. Okay. So in Old Town, we go back to the late 1800s. One place in particular we'll call the beauty salon. So I was invited in. The new owner was doing mass redecorating. She was redoing the store from the floor up. And so that was causing some disturbances, okay? And she was complaining about a lot of activity. And so I was invited in, and when I go in, I don't like people to tell me anything. I want to go in cold. I want to feel, I want to pick up on it. Authentic. And so it ended up being what we call one of our hot spots. So we used to take our tours in on a regular basis, and we would do it in the dark, okay? So it's 2-level building. So back in the day, this would have been a dry goods store. And I did pick up on the original owners. There was a Maddie, there was John there. They were the original owners. So in that time period, you would have your store down below, and above you would have had your living quarters. Well, this was a little different. So if you go back to the time of Prohibition, there are underground tunnels in Old Town Louisville. This particular shop had built-in bookcases that would open up. So the upstairs part of the building would have been their gaming, their gambling. You would have had the ladies of the night and their people that ran them. And come to find out, the bookcase that would open, they would shove their children in, the prostitutes, so they'd be out of the way. You think about being a child and shoved in a small area in the dark. How would that make you feel? Wouldn't feel very good. So this particular area, we had problems with lights. The owner of the shop had an electrician. After your electrician out, oh, we don't know. There's nothing wrong with your lights, lady. Well, they like to go on and off, so you know what that means. So we would get tons of orbs in that area. You would see apparitions, in particular, a small, petite lady. She used to hang out on the top part of the building and look down on the first floor. I think she was probably the one that ran the prostitutes. But anyway, I had set up a camera one night just to see what I could get. And like I said, Rob, we did this in the dark. So, I thought I could get a few orbs, no big deal. Well, I go home and listen to it. And you could hear a train. You could hear people talking, that voice kind of action. You don't exactly hear everything that's going on. But then there was this whistling sound. And it's like, I was sitting there the whole night. I didn't hear any of this. And then it got to the point where they said my name. And then they said my deceased ex-husband's name. It's like, oh, excuse me. That's getting a little too personal now. They said Cindy and they said Chad. And it was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, we kind of backed off that area. That area has what is known as a portal. And we had all kinds of different spirits coming in and out. This is a place that held a lot of trauma. So, a little different. So, yeah, they got up close and personal with me.
Wow, I'm pretty sure you'll never forget that experience.
Oh, no.
What influenced you to share your gifts?
I just like to teach. If I can help somebody understand, we do a lot of house clearings. So, why is the cabinet door banging at 3:00 in the morning? Okay. Well, you have a spirit that's trying to get your attention. So, yes, it scares the pants off of you, but if you just take a moment to, all right, I've got something or someone here that's trying to get my attention, and working as a psychic, being able to feel, who's here, why are you doing that? They just want attention. That's what we have in Old Town Louisville. I have spirits that are just dying to see somebody and they want to be recognized, okay? So when you can recognize them, they're happy. It's like, oh, I'm still here, look. Well, it's almost like going to the zoo, Rob. When you go to the zoo, you're sitting there, you're looking at all the animals, yeah. But then I've got spirits like that, and they're on the other side, and they're going, do you see me? Do you see me? Can you see me? And it's like, oh, when you can see each other and you can make that contact, they're, oh, look what I can do. All they want to do is tell you their story, what happened to them. So I think that's kind of cool, being able to put somebody in contact. Okay, so if you get the chills on the right side, you know what that means? That's male energy. Okay, that's man. He likes to think he's right all the time. So right side, male energy. Okay, your hair stands up on the left side, that's female. You're dealing with a female. Okay, so your spirits will use your body. Okay, you go out there with your equipment, and we have the equipment, but they're going to use what's available. So the body, a lot of times your throat gets real tight. I got a spirit here that was not able to speak its truth. You get the pain in the middle of the back, that's betrayal. All right, so I got a spirit that's betrayed, or that's what he thinks. Okay, so they just want to be recognized. They want to say, hey, this horrible thing happened to me. That's all that is.
Wow, that's pretty interesting how you came up with like these contents, like table of contents, like when it comes to your body, like what you feel whenever you deal with a spirit.
If you're sensitive enough, and we do get a lot of sensitive people on our tours, they're just attracted to that. So you're going back to someone who's empathic. When you're empathic, you're open to feeling. So they will use your emotions, they will use your body. When we get over into the cemetery, we do Smith Cemetery and Halloween. The cemetery is the oldest in Old Town, or Denton County, 1862. So for us, that's old. And the oldest grave there was a young guy, 20, and he was named for the cemetery. His family lost him. So going in and doing that feeling and understanding what happened to him. So I always get headaches. Oh, my head hurts. I can feel it. So I can tell you he was knocked from a horse and he hit the fence and ended up dying from a concussion. So that's being able to feel what's going on. So
that's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
There are several historical places. Can you name the top 3 with the most paranormal activity?
Of course, what we have in Old Town Louisville is really cool. It gets really dark and sinister when we get to Goatman's Bridge, okay? That's not far from here. I'm in Flower Mound. We're getting into Lantana. That's about 20 minutes from here. It's a different energy. It's very heavy. You have a lot of satanic things out there. So yeah, that was the place. We have so many fun stories out there. We had a big tour, and one of my clients was attacked, or my guest, and she was tapping into a young man that died out there. I can tell you he was murdered, but the authorities there, no, that's not what happened. He fell off the bridge. Well, you just don't fall off of a bridge, okay? So anyway, they were getting really close. We use the dowsing rod so you can have full-on conversations with your spirits. And she was really tapping into this young man. He was high school age. And about that time, I was called over on the bridge. Somebody was smelling something that didn't smell good, like sulfur. I was like, oh, okay, we got sulfur here. That's not a good sign. And so the guest, she was there with her daughter. And the daughter came and got me. Oh, we got a problem, Cindy. We got a problem. Oh, what's wrong? There's something wrong with my mother. And I go over there and I look at her. She is on her knees and she's holding her throat and she can't breathe. And I'm going, oh, excuse me. Oh, no, no, no. So I move her out of the spot she was in. We move to the center part of the bridge and I'm trying to ground her. And when you ground somebody from the psychic point of view, you put your energy in them. You try to bring them back from wherever they are. Well, I had to think, I can't ground her. I'm on a bridge. So we had to move her all the way off the bridge. And once I got her on solid ground and was able to stabilize her energy, she could breathe, she could talk. It was like, are you okay? And I said, that's not allowed, that's not allowed. And she goes, I know, I've been doing this for years. I don't know what happened. She had this horrible taste in her mouth. She felt like she was going to choke and get sick. Well, very interesting. About that same time, that's when I was called over for the sulfur smell. And then we looked at the pictures, okay? I like to tell my people, don't go off the end of the bridge because it gets very, very dark on that side of the bridge. Well, do you think they listen? No. So I had seen pictures of one guest who had moved off the bridge, and she has this dark entity next to her, and I have pictures. The entity is probably about 7 feet tall, dark robed, is all black. And it was like, all of this was happening simultaneously. So, and then that you could see where the dark thing started running, and that's when my guest was attacked. It was like, okay. And ended up, even after getting home and a few days later revisiting that, I did end up with about a 4-inch scratch. Somebody didn't like me there. They're not playing nice. So they have to deal with the consequences. But it's a very dark energy. You got to know what you're doing when you go out there. That's not fun and games, okay? It does go back. It's not what they say it is. A goat man, he was thrown from the bridge and da-da-da-da-da. No. We have, there used to be a coven out there, a lot of ritualistic, satanic work. I've been out there where that whole bridge is covered with red wax, okay? That's what you're dealing with. I really feel like they summoned something there, and that something is not happy that it's there, and that's what you're dealing with. So yeah, it's kind of different.
Well, whenever I do decide to go up there, I hope it's with you guys.
Yeah, call me out. It'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. What do you tell the skeptics about the paranormal?
Okay, I've got a fun story for you there. All right. So I had a big tour one Saturday evening, and a lot of people. All right. So I had one young couple, probably fresh out of high school. And we always go into the perk, the coffee shop. That way they can go inside, they can feel the building, it's original brickwork there. They can get something to eat and cool off or warm up depending on the weather, and look at all the fun antiques there. Well, antiques for me hold a lot of energy. So we'll talk about some of those, and they'll take pictures. We get stuff in the building too. It used to be a pharmacy, apothecary back in the day. So, yeah, they had a lot of those. But anyway, yeah, I think the little pharmacist is still there. And you don't want to taunt my ghost. You don't want to taunt spirits. You don't want to poke fun of them, because they will come at you. So I had a guest, a young kid, and he'd gone in the men's room. I know what he did. He had all the tools. He had his ghost meter. We do the dowsing rods, and at the time we were using pendulums too. So he was fully armed. He was a skeptic, okay? So he went in there and he was taunting my spirits. And so evidently they got the better of him, because I'd already taken the tour out front, and we were talking about the antiques and the energy there, because we do it. I like people to go in and see what they can pick up on and what they can feel. And then we go back and we talk about, oh, you got that? Oh, cool. You're really good. All right. This is what we have here. So I teach. All right. So the kid comes running out, and he's grabbing his girlfriend. Oh, we got to go. We got to go. He's white. Okay. He's handing all the tools back to me. We got to go. And he's dragging his girlfriend. The girlfriend's going, what? What's wrong with you? Wait a minute. I'm having fun. No, we got to go. We got to go. So he went in there and he talked smack. And I think it's my little pharmacist that got in his face and said, It scared the crap out of me. So, yeah, you talk about skeptics. I have them every now and then, and he was one. But, he was really put in his place. So I do tell my guests, you do not taunt my spirits. You think they're on the other side, they can come after you. So yeah, we don't do that. It's just like the zoo, and you go up there and you think you're teasing the lion, and the lion, he's going to wait when he can, and he'll swipe at you. So that's what happens. But anyway, it was fun. I love telling that story. Yeah, I made a believer out of him.
I wonder if he ever came back.
Probably not.
All right.
Well, you have to come out
Yeah.
and let us show you around. We have lots of fun stuff. They do occasionally misbehave, especially when we get over in the cemetery. And, I always draw the line. All right, nobody's going home with anything. So please do not invite my spirits to go home with you because they will take you up on the offer. Okay, I've had that happen before. Kid thought he wanted a pet ghost. It's like, get a call from mom. Hey, I got a problem. Can you come out? Okay.
Yeah, I've never done a ghost tour in a cemetery. I heard that it's a really bad idea, but I'm
We
willing
have
to do it.
that.
I'm willing to.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Cindy Ross. This was fun, and hopefully we could do this in the future again.
Oh, definitely. All right.
Happy October, and take care of yourself.
All right. You too. Thank you.
On April of 2021, I visited Houston, Texas, and checked out some breweries. That's just a thing I do whenever I go out of town. I check out obscure places, but I love trying craft beers made from the local breweries. Anyway, I checked out this bar that used to be a trading post back in the 1800s. The bar is called La Carafe Bar. It was built in 1837, and it is said to have sheltered Sam Houston, Texas's first Republic of Texas president. I asked the bartender at the time, where does the most paranormal activity happen? And he told me that the majority of that activity happens upstairs on the second floor. He said that seances are conducted during the month of October. A woman in white appears on top of the staircase as well. It is said that if a woman goes up the stairs, she appears just to push women down. The most famous spirit they have at the bar is Carl, who is said to be a former bartender, and visitors say they hear him speaking around the bar. When I went, I didn't experience any paranormal activity, but I loved the stouts. They were hauntingly delicious. Once in a while, I go to thrift shops or flea markets. Better stuff, better bargains. I don't think much about where the stuff I buy came from, much less who owned it. But what if the past owner had some sinister connection to the item? Well, that's what happened to one family who lived in North Texas. This next story takes place in Cleveland, Texas, which is about an hour away from Houston. It begins with a couple who recently decided to decorate their guest room in their farmhouse. So they went out looking to furnish their guest room with some bargains and decided to go to an antique shop to buy furniture. They end up finding an antique bed and took it home. Now, if you know where this story is going, you have not heard anything yet. At first, nothing happened. They went about their lives. But then the wife started noticing something strange. Strange sounds coming from the guest room. This was an older couple. Their kids were now grown-ups and married. So it was just a man and woman. And one day, while she's in the kitchen, she hears footsteps coming from the room. and the footsteps were coming towards her. She was so scared. She ran out to her porch and didn't tell anyone what had happened. One day, her daughter and her son-in-law visited. Throughout the night, the son-in-law heard footsteps in the room and believed it was his in-laws in the room. When the daughter asked the mother about it, she assured her daughter it wasn't them. Over time, the couple got used to the sound and decided to get rid of the bed. The woman's brother-in-law decided to take it off her hands. Shortly thereafter, they started experiencing the same noise. However, the woman felt guilty for not telling her family that the sound was coming from the bed. If you were in the same position, would you tell someone the item you gave them could be possessed? With hundreds of miles collected, stories of haunted lore found within the Lone Star State, it's time to make our way back home. In our season finale, we uncover more haunted tales about the Gateway City, unearthing stories only those who live next to the Rio Grande would only know about. Let's head back and buckle up into the final destination of horror.